What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the comments made by William Nylander and why he wants to stick around in Toronto, and we'll get to all of the reasons why he wants to stay and the reasons why he might not have a choice but leave. So we'll get to that in this video. If you're new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Trying to make this my full-time gig. I've been saying that in my videos. So liking and subscribing is completely free. I would genuinely appreciate it. Also, if you want to help me out even more, Manscaped, 20% off and free shipping. We'll get to that later in the video. But use my code APH for 20% off and free shipping with Manscaped. But let's get into the video. So, William Nylander. Man, this guy has been a topic of discussion on this channel literally since the season ended. And honestly, I feel like for the last few years, out of any player that's in the trade rumors for the Maple Leafs, it's been William Nylander for the past few years. Like, if they lose, okay, they got to trade one of Nylander or Marner. Then it became, oh, well, they have no choice but to trade Nylander. And now it's like, well, if he doesn't sign an extension for this amount of money, it's got to be Nylander. It's always William Nylander. And I can see both sides. If he's asking for an astronomical amount of money that the Leafs can't afford, you can go get that in free agency. The Leafs aren't going to be giving you that. Or are they? And I see the side where, yeah, the player should make a bunch of money. It makes sense. Go get your money. Do whatever you want. You know, don't worry about the big corporation. Who cares? But there's so many things that go into both sides that it's so hard to really narrow down like what side you would be on. I'm kind of in the middle of like, I want the player to get paid. But of course, like I want my Maple Leafs to win. So I want as much money as possible to be in there. But luckily, I'm not in charge. But the reason why we're making this video is because of an interview that William Nylander did in Stockholm, Sweden with Elliot Friedman. And yeah, there was a lot of quotes coming out of this one. So Nylander said, for me, the contract, obviously, I want it to work where I can stay there and be there, talking about Toronto, of course. There's no other place that I want to play, but I still have one more year left. I don't understand why there's such a big rush to do something now. I still have one more year left. And this is where I kind of understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, he knows what he's saying and he knows what he's doing. It's a little bit of media training here because basically, of course, there's still a whole year left on his contract, which I still have to explain to people. There's no sitting out for Nylander. There's no holdout. He has a contract to play for the Leafs this season. After this year, he will become an unrestricted free agent and could go anywhere he wants to for free. The reason why he's saying this is because he's basically trying to cover his own ass by saying, look, I want to stay here. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to sign. We just have to get it worked out. It's putting a little bit more pressure on the team because he's saying, look, I don't want to go anywhere. So unless they trade me, I'm not going anywhere. So I want to stay here. I want to sign. And then if for some reason they don't get a contract done before the start of this season or even, next year, and he leaves in free agency, he can just say, well, I wanted to stay. I gave the team this amount, whatever, and now I'm out. So that's where it puts a little bit more pressure on the team for him to be like, yeah, I want to stay. But, they didn't keep me. But that's far down the line. He also said, I want to be in Toronto as long as I can. That's just where my mind is at. And then he went on to say they have been talking, but I don't think there's much going on about that. But I'm just focused on getting ready for next season and having my best season yet in order to take the next step. In regards to getting it done now, he said, yeah, it would be fun if we get it done, but it's not like that where my focus is at. But it's not like that's where my focus is at. Sorry. He said, I'm just ready to have the best season yet, and that will take care of itself when it's ready to happen. So I'm not worried about it. Nylander is never worried about contracts. He's never, worried about the talk, and he never gets himself involved in that stuff. And he's one of the most relaxed players in the NHL. It's probably the most relaxed player on the Leafs for sure. He just doesn't like getting himself involved with that. And honestly, that's a pretty good thing. Taking a quick break to let you guys know about the sponsor of this video, Manscaped. Hockey season is coming up, and we all know it's important to stay fresh and protected on and off the ice. And well, Manscaped is here to help us do that. I've got the Performance Package 4.0 with me. I've even got my travel bag and it's perfect for the dressing room. Inside holds the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce accidents down there using its advanced skin-safe technology. It's also waterproof and has an LED spotlight for a more precise shave. Next up is a game changer, and that is the Weed Whacker nose hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and has proprietary skin-safe technology. That's going to help nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. You're also getting the Crop Preserver below the waist deodorant and Crop Reviver below the waist toner. And like I mentioned earlier, Manscaped threw in 2 free gifts with the Performance Package 4.0. That is the Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Get 20% off and free shipping with my code APH at manscaped.com. That's APH for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Now back to the video. I, for one, think that there's time now for the Maple Leafs to get this done. Austin Matthews' contract, as we know, is done. I'm really surprised that his got done first. I really thought the Leafs were waiting so that way Nylander's camp won't be like, oh, well, look at how much he signed for. We're not that far apart in terms of him, the Leafs offering potentially in the $8 million range. Nylander's team's going to say, well, we're not $5 million worth of a difference between him and Austin Matthews. So that's where this gets a little bit tricky as well. Although if they go a full 8 years, who knows what that dollar amount is. And I have to remind you guys, and this is something that Steve Dangle mentioned in one of his latest podcasts, actually in the latest podcast, and it makes complete sense. In years previous, when a player would sign for 8 years or 7 years, it made the number smaller, the average annual value smaller. So let's say the Maple Leafs were like, yeah, we'll give you $9 million for 7 years, right? Or 8 years. So $9 million. Well, okay. In years previous, that might make sense because if Nylander's camp was like, well, we want 10, well, but if we stretch it out to 9 million over 8 years, okay, you're getting more money in the long run. Because if they want 10 over like 5 years or something like that, it would make more sense for security, longevity, the money, whatever. It would make more sense to take those longer years and the more money overall. But because the salary cap is going to go up substantially in the next few years, players are looking and going, well, if they offer me 9 now, in a couple of years, I'm going to be worth 11 because the cap's going to go up. And that's the reason why Austin Matthews signed for 4 years. In 4 years, he's going to cash in again, probably for like 15 million plus, because the cap is going to go up substantially. And the cap percentage then goes higher for a contract. So it's all a bit of a mess right now, but I see William Nylander wanting to stay long-term and looking for that security, but that number is probably pretty high, and that's why his team is probably 10 plus million. I think the Leafs and Nylander are going to settle in the $8.8 to $9 million range, but it's going to be a pretty short contract. I think it could be maybe shorter than the Matthews deal. It could be 3 years, and people probably won't like that, but if they're so far apart to the point where they have to just have almost a bridge deal, that's what they're going to have to do just to get it done. And I know, again, people are going to disagree with that, but that might also mean that he's going to get traded. So again, this cap hit, regardless of what you want to say or not, William Nylander is underpaid right now. Under $7 million for a player that scores 40 goals, that's never going to happen again. It's just not, especially in the Toronto market. The taxes, everything like that has to come into play here. Nobody's ever going to get that cheap of a deal for 40 goals again. And like I said, it's just a bit of a bargain right now. So I wanted to look at a couple different numbers that we don't usually look at when we go through these videos. So defense stats, and people are going to think, oh, here we go, he doesn't back check, whatever. William Nylander's takeaway to giveaway ratio is actually insane. Like, he takes away the puck from opponents way more than he gives away the puck, which is clearly a good thing. And that results to a stat like this, right? He's number 2 on the team in the on-ice goal differential in all situations. So, of course, there's guys that kill penalties and on the power play and whatever else. But in all situations, in all assets of the game, William Nylander is second on the Maple Leafs in they're scoring much more when he's on the ice rather than being scored against. 64 goals are being scored more when William Nylander is out there. Like, they're scoring a lot more when he's out there. So whether or not you like the guy, and again, like, I don't want him to get paid like this lucrative amount of money from a team side. As a fan of hockey and a fan of the player, of course I want to see this guy get paid. I want to see everybody get paid. Who doesn't want to see their friends or their people they watch to get paid? I want people to make money. It's a tough life right now. And of course, they make enough money. They're covered. But I'm just saying, why would I ever pray for somebody to get less money? You know what I mean? I understand both sides. I want Nylander to stay on this team, and I know he wants to stay. But if it's that much money and the Leafs have an offer where they can upgrade in different areas and actually get stronger, of course, that's a no-brainer. But those type of trades are very difficult, and they don't happen very often. Now, the next thing that I want to show you guys, after the Matthews deal, this is roughly what the team is going to look like after this season. So not this upcoming season, but the following season after. Now, this 83.5 is probably going to be closer to 86. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 86. So the Leafs will have over $30 million in cap space guaranteed. Now, there's holes, of course, but if you sign a William Nylander, there's still ample space for the Leafs to upgrade in different areas and potentially extend guys like Bertuzzi and Domi. Or if a big name player comes into the trade market, they've got some picks, not a lot, but they've got some picks. They've got some prospects. They've got some stuff that they could work with. But the Leafs actually have enough room to hold on to these guys next season. And in the coming years, the cap is going up. And of course, the Tavares contract is not going to be $11 million. If he wants to stay, it's going to be less than $5 million. Like, the Leafs are going to get some cap relief. So the Leafs have to figure out if it's worth it to maybe overpay a little bit to keep Nylander around and then go from there. Or if they feel like they can cash in, get a top 4 defenseman, maybe get a prospect and a pick, I don't know, and just go with that. But you have to replace 40 goals. And that's where, you can replace that on the blue line. Oh, you can replace that here. There's so many different ways that they can go about this. They have to be careful. It's going to be a very difficult situation. But I wanted to let you guys know that I'm kind of stuck because I don't know what to think. And that's why I need you guys to sound off in the comments. And sorry, I'm still getting over whatever I've been dealing with. So I do apologize if I'm a little bit hard of breath and everything like that. This is the most I've been doing the past 3 days. So if you guys are new here, like, subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Like I said, sound off in the comments. What do you think about William Nylander's latest comments and what's been going on? Also, like I said before, if you want to help support my journey of becoming a full-time content creator, liking and subscribing is completely free. Also, Manscaped, use code APH for 20% off and free shipping. That would definitely help a lot. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what your comments are down below, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.